Well, hi there. It's Marilyn Price. I'm taking you around the world on a trip. Fasten your seatbelts. But first, let me show you where we're starting out. We here at the Mentor Project, my particular spot of origin is right here. For those of you with really, really good eyes, you might see that eye. And we're right here in the great state of Illinois in Chicago. But we are going to fly. Oh, such an easy way to fly when you have a globe and aren't really going there except in our wonderful imaginations. Today, we are going to begin a journey around the world with puppets. But today, we're going to focus on the first country to visit, and that would be the country of Germany. So here it is on my map. I'm going to let you see it a little bit better right here in the great continent of Europe. So we're going to start on Germany today. I have not one, not two, not three, but four puppets from Germany. And we're going to see how they look, a little bit of their history, but right now I'm going to remove the world. That was easy. But what? Where's me? Here's me. Took me a little while to get down and get my luggage so that I could show you where we're going. Well, here's how it all started. I got a wonderful gift last week or two from a dear friend and an almost relative, and she was cleaning up some stuff and found this puppet. I'm going to actually leave him because he's my newest in my collection. He starred in very beginning. He was a radio show, and then he became books and a successful, we like that word, TV show, and I heard films, and oh yes, musical. So I'm going to give you a peek at him because now you'll know why I am so intrigued by this character. His name is Pumuckl. And I am not the best linguist, but you will see why I fell in love with him. Now, granted, he never had a puppet show, but people, this is what happens sometimes when you are successful in other things, you make stuff called swag. And he must have been swag so that kids could play with him and tell his story. So here he is. I'm going to tell you a little bit of his story in just a few minutes, mostly because it's kind of similar to other stories that we're going to investigate as we travel around the world together, you and me, on the Mentor Project. So, first up is one of the first puppets I collected, and he was made in Germany. You might recognize him. You might even have some things also from his studio or from the toy company that he came from. And he is a Steve Bear, very growly. He's made of mohair wool, really lovely. And I will admit that the only. Are you embarrassed? You've never been on this media before? No? Oh dear. Are you not very. No, I don't. He's not exactly scary, is he? Well, he is a bear. He lives in the forest. And I brought him out first because he has been with me the longest, although he is definitely not the oldest, I think. How old are you? Doesn't know, has no clue. Okay. So he is a Steve Bear made in Germany, played all over the world. These two I got as a gift when I was up in a library in Wisconsin, a small town outside of Madison. And the librarian was very excited. She said she was leaving the wonderful world of librarians, and she was cleaning out the things she used to tell stories. And she knew I was coming up, so she decided that I could make use of these puppets. And they are from a region in Germany called the Black Forest. So it sounds awesome, doesn't it? And what I particularly like about the Black Forest is the cake that comes from there. But I love these puppets. They're carved of wood, and then their bodies are made of wool felt. Okay, so here he comes. Get ready. Isn't he fearsome? Now, here is his secret weapon. Not only does he open and close his mouth, oops, sorry about that, buddy, but the way I hold his head is through his ears. So it's not so fearsome, right? You don't like to be not so fearsome. You'd like to be fearsome? That means, yes, I do. Okay, so here he is. His ears move, and the movement of the ears helps me open and close his mouth. My thumb is under here. It's made of wood. You can even hear him. Chomp, chomp, chomp. And I started to put together a way we could tell a story using the first three puppets, thinking about Grimm tales, Grimm, the Grimm brothers' tales, which were from Germany as well. Collections of stories. Two brothers, not story writers, but story collectors. So now we have a bear and we have an awesome wolf. How many stories have wolves, right? Think of them. Little Red Riding Hood, yeah. Who is chasing Grandma? Besides Grandpa, right? But the wolf. Ooh. And he's going to visit her. So wolves always have this kind of scary feel, especially in grim tales. But there's usually a very helpful character. And because this lovely librarian gave me these puppets, oh, his hat covers his handsome eyes. He is a woodsman. And usually what happens in some of the grim tales is someone's frightened, being chased by a wolf, and along comes the woodsman. And what does he do? I save them. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you are such a great saver. Could you do something savorish? I don't mean savory, savorish. Okay, let's pretend I can put together just a little story. Would you be helpful? You need top billing? I should get it? Well, thank you so much. What a generous woodsman. So maybe you're wondering what these are. That's how puppeteers hang their puppets on the back of their stage, so they can just reach down and get them. This is very, very cool because I'm going to make this story up just like you can make stories up as we go along. Got to get my fingers in his ears. Ooh, I bet that tickles. So let's try this one. Once upon a time, there was a young girl walking through the woods. She was on her way to Grandma's house. She came upon a trail. Ooh, and she went onto that trail. And as she was turning the corner, and there was a wolf. Oh no, it's a wolf. Nah, said the wolf, which means, looking tasty, why, thank you. How nice of you to say. Such an evil wolf. That tasty does not mean what she thought it meant. So the wolf said, where are you going, little girl? And she said, I am going to see my great aunt Sophie. Oh, he wanted to know where she lived. So I told him. She lives on the other side of the dark and scary woods. You want to escort me? How cool was that? She was going to be escorted by the wolf. What a nice wolf. Thank you. Do you have a name? Wolfie. Okay, Wolfie. Let's go. So Wolfie and the young girl went on her way to see Grandma. When they got to the house where, great Aunt Sophie lived, she was somebody's grandma, right? Oh, she went inside and, what? Great Aunt Sophie was nowhere to be found. But in the bed where Great Aunt Sophie was supposedly taking a snooze was Wolfie in a not very elaborate costume. When she looked down, she said, oh, Great Aunt Sophie, you don't look good at all. Great Aunt Sophie said, whatever it is that Great Aunt Sophie said, she said, I don't feel good. What's the matter, Great Aunt Sophie? Can you tell me? Oh, Great Aunt Sophie has the shakes. Would you like some hot soup? No. What would you like, Great Aunt Sophie? A kiss? Come closer, she said. Oh, the wolf said to come closer to the little girl. Well, all right. Then she came closer to the wolf. The wolf opened up its mouth and was about to take a big bite of the little girl's nose when in comes our savior, the woodsman, who said, I warned you about this, Wolfie. And he shut his mouth completely up, tied it in a great big bow, and took him off where he could teach him manners. And I mean, that's what happened. And maybe it didn't. But, sometimes when you have great characters like a scary bear and a wolf and a woodsman to save the day, you could do anything you want because that's what stories do. So awesome. So, those are my first three, and you've already met the character that I'm going to introduce you to. Now, because he was a star of stage, screen, television, I can't tell you his stories, but you could certainly look him up. His name is spelled Pumuckl. And that's exactly what his stories were called. Is he his Well, let me tell you how he met his friend. Okay, but let me put him on. I particularly like him because he's kind of silly. And he sometimes gets into trouble. And sometimes he doesn't. And the person who takes care of him, whose name is Meister Eater, Meister means master, and Pumuckl lived together. Now, how did he get there? Well, let me tell you a little bit of his story. Would you mind if I told it? You can act it out for me, okay? Pumuckl was a descendant of the Klauberterman people. They were sailors, and therefore he loved sailing. But somehow or another, even though he loved all things to do with oceans, he got lost in Bavaria, where no ships are to be found. Oh, can you imagine his dismay? Another thing you have to know about the Klauberterman people is that they do not like neat and clean places. So imagine his delight when he takes refuge in a carpenter's untidy workshop. Oh, he was so excited. The workshop belonged to the elderly Meister Eider. And if you remember, that means master. What was he a master of? He was a master carpenter. And the workshop, not unlike mine, was so untidy that a bottle of glue had been spilled over and our hero had stepped in it. Oh no! Now, it is a rule among kobolds, of which he was, that whenever you get stuck in glue, something man made, which would be glue, they become visible. So, the only one who could see him was Master Eater. But at all other times, he became invisible. But when he was with the Meister, he was visible. Now, the Meister and he became sort of good friends. The Meister tried really hard to teach him values and lessons, but he was a bit of a curmudgeon, which meant he liked to get into trouble. At first, the Meister was not excited to have company. He liked being on his own. But after a while, he grew to like the company, and a deep, deep friendship happened with them. In the series of stories which you can find, they have all sorts of wonderful adventures. It is not unlike other stories that we are going to listen to as we travel around the world. The history of German puppetry itself is very old. The most famous character is a character called Casper, and Casper was in started in the late 17th century. Casper, you will discover when you find him, is very much like another character that was started in the next country we're going to visit in the 16th century, and that was Mr. Punch. So I am excited to introduce you to the wonderful world of puppets and filled with all sorts of magical characters because puppets speak all languages. I thank you so much for coming by today. You can watch us on Facebook. You can listen to us on our podcast. You can look at us on LinkedIn. We come around just about every week. This is Marilyn Price, who is taking you around the world with puppets and having a ball. Thank you for now.